This is the most expensive gaming flop from Sega. It's August 2023 and a brand new hero-based extraction shooter came out in closed beta called Hyenas. And I know like 80% of people that are watching this just cringe when I said the oversaturated term hero-based shooter, but this game might have had potential. So what was Hyenas and what happened to the game? Because obviously we aren't playing the game right now. Firstly, we have to understand the development of the game. So Hyenas, initially called Project K back in 2017, was proposed and greenlighted after the critical success of Alien Isolation, despite the lackluster sales. Aiming for a broader appeal, the studio decided to create an online multiplayer shooter for console inspired by games like Destiny, Escape from Tarkov, PUBG, and Apex Legends. However, they basically said that they didn't want to make a battle royale game, believing the genre was dominated by basically the big dogs like Fortnite and Apex Legends. So what was the main gameplay loop for Hyenas? Well, obviously we keep talking about it, but it was a unique extraction-focused hero shooter where teams of characters known as hyenas competed against each other to collect valuable items referred to as merch. These items in-game included pop culture memorabilia like Sonic statues and clothing, because after all, this is a Sega game, so they gotta, throw in their fan-favorite stuff. The gameplay was set in space, introducing a distant zero-gravity mechanic that allowed players to engage in combat while floating, adding a layer of complexity to battles. In addition to the PvP extraction mode and the combat, the game also featured a PvE mode where in this mode teams would collaborate to defeat the main forces such as Murphs while gathering as much merch as possible. And each hyena character came with their unique abilities that could turn the tide of any battle. For instance, Hiroki could use his cosplay skills to disguise himself as an enemy, creating opportunities for surprise attacks, or Galaxia, which wielded a big shield like Reinhardt from Overwatch. And the reception of the game was kind of all over the place. Some called the game obnoxious and underwhelming, while others thought it was surprisingly fun. But one review stood out, and that being Jake Tucker from Tech Radar. To sum up his quote, he said that the game was fun but overwhelming, and that the game might struggle to find an audience as a paid game, especially when there is other popular games that are like the game that are actually free to play, like Fortnite. So yes, this game was a paid game that you would have to actually spend money on, and it wasn't a free to play game. So Hyenas was Sega's most expensive game ever made, with a budget exceeding $70 million, surpassing the cost of Shenmue in 1999. The game was considered one of Sega's super games, intended to be ambitious and profitable. It went under multiple closed alpha tests and beta tests. However, Sega became increasingly dissatisfied with the game's progress, which then they would close the development office in Sega Japan and move it all the way to the UK offices. Hyenas was planned to be released on PC, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 4, Xbox Series X and S, and Xbox One. However, by August 2023, Sega executives described the game's development as challenging, hinting at a possible cancellation or suggesting a shift to a free-to-play model. But later on, a developer came out and said that the game's failure was due to a lack of creative direction, poor management, and an unoriginal concept in a saturated market, and a lot of complications from switching from an engine that they knew to Unreal Engine. And they also hinted that Sega would be more cautious about the future projects that they have due to the financial loss of Hyena's cancellation.